Once I was prescribed OxyContin in small dosages, it was amped up through the years. Once I graduated college, I lost my medical insurance, at which point I started buying drugs off the street. It got to the point where I started using needles, and then I probably was an IV drug user for a good year and a half before I ever made it to a needle exchange.
Harm reduction is a strategy of not necessarily ending a behavior, but reducing the harm from that behavior. When you're talking about injection drug use, those harms would include viral and bacterial infections introduced through the syringe and needle into the bloodstream. A sterile syringe for each injection greatly reduces the risk of hepatitis B, hepatitis C, HIV, and other bacterial infections. We've measured that in the first 6 months of our operation. The needle sharing dropped from, I think it was 26% when they first came in, the first month that we operated, to 8% 6 months later. Usually we give them a Sharps container to safely contain their syringes. We make sure that we let them know that we want the syringes back. It's kind of counterintuitive that you're giving people a bunch of syringes and that reduces the number of syringes in the neighborhood, but that's what's been seen. We educate about overdose. What is it that increases the risk for overdose? How do you avoid the risk for overdose as best you can? And then we have a naloxone distribution program. So if you have too much opioid in your system and it has rendered you unconscious and is suppressing your ability to breathe, putting naloxone into that person will knock the opioid off the receptors and allow them to wake up and breathe again. That saves their lives.
So let me just ask you in general, how do you save someone's life who stops breathing?
So we have a pharmacist from the Marshall University School of Pharmacy who trains people in naloxone and can dispense it. In the first year that we operated, we distributed about 4,500 doses of naloxone, and we had somewhere over 400 recoveries from it. Recovery coaches meet the people when they come in. They engage and assess their readiness for recovery, and if they're ready for recovery, they can refer them directly into recovery services.
The first time I went to the needle exchange, I ran into a girl who worked for Recovery Point that I had previously hung out with in Morgantown at WVU, and she was currently working for Recovery Point in the main office here at the time. And so we just kind of sat and caught up, and she was just like, if you ever want to try recovery, get a hold of me. Within a couple months, it got really bad, and I finally got a hold of her. And she was like, well, I can get you a bed down here. And she was like, you just got to get here.
Our goal is to cut down on the disease process and then getting our people into recovery. That's our main goal.
Know of at least 35 that have gone into some kind of treatment, and then we've had around 40 that we know we've saved from the naloxones.
The biggest reason I think that the harm reduction makes a huge difference is because it's a way to get people in and give them information when that's not really what they're there for. If there's already a stigma with drug use, why not at least be able to give them an opportunity for recovery and education at the same time you're providing them a healthier way to do what they're going to do regardless.
But the key to harm reduction is to include the client, because the opposite of addiction is not sobriety. The opposite of addiction is connection. It's very easy to intellectually say these are human beings. If you really think they're human beings, let's treat them like human beings. Let's talk to them like human beings, the same as we do everybody else, and that's what we do.